Sometimes, the thing we chase the hardest becomes the cage that holds us captive. Today's story is about a man who finally won everything he prayed for, only to realize he had lost the very soul that made the prayer. This is for anyone who has confused a blessing with the blessing. Stay with us to hear the truth about ambition and grace. The rain was falling hard. Elias sat alone in his tiny, dark apartment, the only light coming from a flickering lamp. He was 30 years old, broke, and desperately driven. He wasn't praying for comfort. He was praying for a weapon. "God," he whispered, his voice cracking, "I just need the chance, the success. Give me the foothold. Give me the resources, and I promise I'll use it all for good. I'll be generous. I'll make you proud. Just let me win this one fight." He prayed this same prayer for years, an endless transactional plea for the key to the kingdom. And God answered. Elias was smart and relentless. He got his foothold. He made his name, and the success came. But as the money grew, the prayer faded. In the suburbs, there stood a beautiful house, a fortress built by Elias, now a managing partner of a booming financial firm. He had money, power, and prestige, but he had forgotten the promise. Success wasn't a weapon for good, it was an idol he built to worship himself. The signs of neglect were now everywhere, and they were heartbreaking. His wife, Maria, often sat alone at the massive mahogany dining table he bought, a table meant for family, eating dinner long after he said he'd be home. She stopped setting a place for him. She stopped calling after 7 p.m. Her quiet resignation was louder than any argument. His daughter, Clara, now 9, drew him a picture for Father's Day. It wasn't of their family. It was a simple black rectangle drawn over his face. When the teacher asked, Clara explained softly, "Daddy is always on his phone. He can't see us." He laughed when Maria told him, "Kids, right?" But the small laugh caught in his throat later when he realized he hadn't looked at his daughter's face in 3 days. He used to keep a small Bible on his desk from college days. Now, it was buried in a box. When Maria asked him to join her at church, his reply was a polished lie. "I'm working on Sunday, Maria. God wants me to be successful, doesn't he? The work is the ministry now." He convinced himself that chasing money was his divine purpose. He had traded his faith for his fortune. His world felt completely secure, but it was hollow. But life has a way of ringing the bell when we least expect it. The crisis call. One gray Tuesday morning, the call came, not from a client, but from a lawyer. A rogue partner had made a catastrophic error, and the firm was collapsing. Within 3 weeks, Elias watched his life savings vaporize. The house was leveraged. The cars would be repossessed. His fortress, his identity, his ambition, destroyed. Boom! A deep, thunderous silence fell over his executive office. Elias walked out that day in a daze. He sat in the garage, staring at the concrete, no longer seeing his possessions, but seeing the years he couldn't get back. He felt the cold, empty consequence of his choices. He had worshipped the creation, and the creation had failed him. He wandered his own house, unable to speak to Maria. Day after day, he felt the weight of the loss, but it wasn't the loss of money. It was the realization of the time he had traded for it. He was exhausted by his pride. He thought about running away. Yet, a small, relentless voice inside whispered, "You lost the money, Don't lose them too. Keep fighting. So he kept moving, navigating the wreckage of his failure, believing that somewhere, somehow, he could find a way to apologize for a decade of absence.
One rainy afternoon, he found Maria packing Clara's room. Clara, now quiet and withdrawn, was watching old home videos. Maria looked up, her eyes quiet but firm. "Remember this?" Maria asked softly, pointing to the TV. It was Clara's 4th birthday party. Elias was standing in the background, tie loosened, phone pressed to his ear. He wasn't even looking at his daughter blowing out the candles. The sight, the cheerful birthday song mixed with the image of his arrogant, neglectful self, hit him like a physical blow. He felt the full, unforgivable weight of his failure. It wasn't the firm's collapse that broke him. It was the realization that he had willingly stolen his own memories. He covered his face, and for the first time in his adult life, Elias truly cried. He cried not for his bank account, but for the little girl with the black rectangle over her daddy's face. He cried for the wife he had silenced. He cried for the man he had betrayed. "I'm so sorry, Maria," he choked out, collapsing onto the carpet. "I missed it all. I traded you for nothing. I broke the promise I made to God and to you." Maria sat down next to him, placing her hand gently on his shaking shoulder. There was no resentment, only quiet strength. "The house is gone, Elias, but the man I married, God never stopped fighting for him. We only hear him when the noise of everything else finally stops." And then she did something Elias hadn't seen in years. She closed her eyes and prayed, not a prayer of asking, but a simple, tearful prayer of thanks for his presence, for the sound of his grief, and for the persistent grace that stripped away his idol. With renewed clarity, the true foundation revealed itself. It wasn't money. It was the quiet, enduring grace that held his wife steady. They began again. They found a small, cheap rental. Elias started a small, honest consulting business from the kitchen table. He was home every day by 5 p.m. He made dinner. He helped with homework. He drove a modest, used car, but he held Maria's hand. One evening, they were all sitting on the small porch watching the sunset. Clara came and sat close to him. She handed him a new drawing. It was a picture of their small new house, and in the middle, she drew her father. There was no phone. There was just a large, simple heart. Elias stopped, tears welling up again. The beauty of that moment, the simple, unearned grace, was the paradise he'd spent a decade buying the wrong things to find. He picked up his old dusty Bible. It fell open to a familiar passage, one he hadn't read since he made his bargain. "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." And then the revelation hit him. If that bell had never rung, if I hadn't lost my fortune, I would still be trapped in that office, chasing a false god. The loss wasn't a punishment, it was a rescue, sent to remind me of the only promise that ever mattered. Friends, life is like that. We build our nests on our careers, our possessions, and our pride. But one day, the bell rings and everything shakes. The things that break may actually be the persistent grace of God leading us back to the unshakable foundation of faith. Don't be afraid of the bell that rings. It might just be the sound of your ultimate freedom.
Maybe Elias's story feels familiar. Maybe you've chased something so hard that when you finally caught it, you realized it had already stolen your peace. So let me ask you, have you ever begged God for something, then when you got it, slowly drifted away from Him? What did that moment teach you about success, faith, or grace? Share your story in the comments below. Someone out there might need to hear your testimony tonight. And if this story touched your heart, don't just scroll away. Stay with us. Subscribe and walk this journey of redemption, healing, and faith with us.